Step number 6 in the 15-step playbook for pain relief. Hi and welcome everybody. It's Jason Barlow, RMT, and I'm here today as your therapist and as your coach to help you transform any stress, tension, and pain into health, happiness, and vitality. We're on the 15-step playbook for pain relief every Thursday, and this week I'm centering in on step number 6. The last number of weeks we've obviously been going through step numbers 1 through 5, and I've been taking several weeks to do that because I like to plug away and carve away at a little bit more details than what I'm able to expand upon within my book. And if that's intriguing to you, then pay attention, because in the next few weeks here, we're about to release a new program which will give you access to this book. And it will also give you, I think it's over 3 hours of video that I put together, which will go through each of these steps in more detail. Accompanying that will be some other programs as well, which I'm excited about, including nutrition and lifestyle, including some attention hacks, and just, basically arming you with as much information as I can before you actually even come and see me in the clinic, if you're even able to come and see me, depending upon where you're located in the world. So this book is something I've pieced together over my near 20-year career as a massage therapist, certainly over 20 years when you factor in the number of years I was as a personal trainer. Come from a background with, well, multitude of things, but if you want to read more about that, just go to the description below. But this is a summary of my philosophy and insight in helping people achieve more health, happiness, and vitality. Because the bottom line is this: we're all seeking that. We're all wanting more expression of health and happiness. How do we achieve it? And that's why I spend a good chunk of time in my book talking about mindset, because until you change the way you look at things, the way things look will not change. So especially if you've got chronic pain, the viewpoint that you have with respect to that is imperative that you start to tackle your mindset behind it. Because what if your body's not changing at the speed and the rate that you would like? How are you coping with that from a mental perspective? That's absolutely number one. Then we look at the physical body, which is where we're getting into now the last couple of steps. I've looked at my top 3 exercises. So, again, I could give you a whole program of dozens of exercises and keep progressing them and so forth. But for me, these are the cream of the crop. These are the top 3 that most everybody needs, depending upon, or based upon, if you will, general posture and how we adopt our body and movements and function throughout our day. These are the ones that are going to cut to the chase and give you the biggest bang for your buck, especially if you're a busy parent and especially if you're a busy person, business owner, and entrepreneur, and so forth. I know what it's like. I'm a busy dad of 4 kids, married. We have a business that runs that's dependent upon me being present for it. And so I understand what it's like to lead a busy lifestyle. And I give you strategies, and that's why I called it the 15-step playbook for pain relief, because I realized that we're busy. Right? So what's the smallest amount of steps that I can take? And we could go smaller than 15 steps, but I like the 15 steps because it gave me a chance to expand within those 4 realms or 4 controls that you have control over, although right now it might not feel like you have control over. What are they? Very quickly, I will say that it is your mind, your physical body, your foods, and your rest and recovery. Those are within your control. Now, you can go and get support from other physical therapists and chiros and massage therapists and doctors and naturopaths and run these tests and run those tests. But ultimately, you know your body, you know your mind, if you tap into it, better than anybody else. You can describe it to somebody. They can test you, but they're just getting a little piece of the pie. They're not getting a whole pie. You have the whole pie. You get to taste it. And as a result of that, you need to become your true owner of this body, this mind, and take accountability for what you can, which is a lot, and start to change these things through mind, body, food, recovery. That's the essence of my book. So let's jump into step number 6 this week. Is the last of my top 3 exercises, which is called the bridge. Now, within my book, and you can still go get a free digital copy of this at my website, jasonbarlowrmt.com. Within my book, I give you a photograph, and I also give you a little description below and at the bottom, which is in the description of this video, or if you're listening on a podcast, you'll see there's a description with a website address. That website address is going to take you to my website, which is showing you a video of how to do the exercises. It will give you access to all 6. That's 3 exercises and 3 stretches. So no excuses. The information is right at your fingertips. All you have to go do is that. Do it. Follow through. So step number 6 is called the bridge. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time today describing how to do the exercise. That's where you need to go a step further and look on that website. But in essence, the whole idea behind this exercise, and that's my focus today, is to engage your postural extensors. Now, these are the muscles that very often, when you sit down in a chair and you sit into the chair, whether that's driving or at your office space, you're not actually engaging your extensor muscles. So then when you stand up and function and move and you require engagement of these muscles, they don't have quite the capacity, the strength, the endurance to hold you in an upright posture. And you'll go back to adopting what feels comfortable when you were sat in the chair, which is a rounded, slightly slumping forward posture, shoulders rounded, and the head's generally looking down depending upon what we're doing. So this exercise is going to help oppose that. Now, there's ways you can progress it, as with every exercise. But again, just start with the essence of the exercise and really focus in on the intricate details, which I get into in my description. But especially 2 things. 1, your breathing. Very often, you might not be paying too much attention to your breathing. That breathing is absolutely fundamental. There's no point in going to do a whole bunch of other exercises if you can't breathe sequentially in the right order and engage the right muscles and breathe properly, which I've talked about before, which you can look back on some of my past podcasts and videos. And again, I reinforce it in this video anyway. But yes, breathing. And then the second component to this is just ensuring that you're getting good postural alignment as you do it. So it's all about the quality of the movement versus the quantity. Because you could probably bust this out no problem and go do multiple. But if you're not doing it with good quality, then I would question why you need to do that kind of quantity. Quantity will come. Quality's got to be superseding that as you kick off this exercise. The other element that factors in with the breathing too, which is important for all of us, but certainly more so anybody who has had a baby and has any weakness or instability in the pelvis, low back pain, and so forth. This is an important Kegel exercise that you can encompass within this particular postural exercise I'm teaching you. So again, particularly for those people, but regardless, males included, but anybody who's not had a baby even is going to benefit from having or doing this exercise, because what's happening when you engage these deep stabilizers of the pelvis is you're actually connecting the dots between the anterior stabilizers of the trunk, that's your abdominals and your obliques, and the posterior stabilizers of the trunk and head, which are your spinal stabilizers, the extensors, the paraspinals, however you want to term them, but essentially all the muscles that run the length of your spine up to your head. The only way they connect between the front, the side, and the back is through the deep pelvic stabilizers, which you can recruit using this Kegel type of approach, just squeezing those pelvic floor muscles. So again, I'm not going to go into too much detail. I just want you to understand the benefits of this particular exercise. It can be listed as a big bang exercise if you're doing it properly. Now, if this is an exercise you've done before, you need to think about how you can progress it. And with every exercise, there's always ways to progress them. And if you're not progressing them, sorry, Instagrammers, I just realized this is not in place. I'll just do this real quick. Hopefully you pick me up because that microphone's pretty powerful. So if you've been doing this exercise already and you're like, okay, I need to level up on this exercise, then you need to do that for sure. You can do it with your eyes closed. You can do it with your feet up on a prop, such as a couch, or you could even go to a ball. But again, if you're a beginner, you don't need to go there yet. But what I'm saying is every exercise that's out there, there's always ways to progress and change and adapt. And that's the most important thing, because your body very quickly gets comfortable with doing certain movements and activities. So we've always got to be leveling up, so to speak, as I like to call it. And with good quality, progress the exercise, because otherwise, if you keep doing what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always gotten. And so if you don't progress these exercises, and this applies to anything in life, by the way, but when it comes to exercises and our stretches, if you're not progressing them, you're not raising the bar, you're not getting more intense with them, you're going to only achieve what you've got up to this point. And you might be able to maintain what you've got. And if you're happy with that, then kudos and away you go. But if you're still needing more relief or more stability, more endurance, more strength, then you obviously want to incrementally make more change and intensity shifts. Otherwise, it's going to remain with what you've currently got. So thank you for joining me. Next week, I'm going to explore a bit more of the intricacies of the bridge. So join me for that particular session. But if you've not already, go get this free digital copy, because I can't say for sure, but in the coming weeks here, I'm going to be pulling it off as a free digital book. You'll be able to get a chapter from it, but if you want the full book, go do that right away today. Remember, your muscle health is my #1 priority. Join me again tomorrow, where I'm going to be sharing my book of the week. You can't quite see it's on this other side of the bookshelf, but you can see I love books. And so every week I share one of my favorite books. It always ties in helping you to achieve more health, happiness, and vitality. And that covers things from relationships to finances to jobs and careers to the body, the mind, the nutrition. Like, I like to cover it all. I mean, I'm constantly learning, and I love to learn from anybody and everybody that comes into my clinic. Certainly, I have lots of questions for people, and that's important, right? The quality of our life, I believe, is determined by the quality of our questions. It was taught to me by Dr. DeMartini many years ago, and it's always stayed with me. Anyway, I shall leave you on that note. Thank you for joining me.